Welcome back to the episode 8 of the Overqualified Golf Dads podcast with Kamaiu Johnson and my co-host, as always, Maddox Lytle. First off, we'll hop into our co-host, Maddox. How's the week, bro? How's the snow?
It's terrible.
Ew.
I don't like the cold weather. Schools have been closed since, let's see, what's today? Thursday. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and tomorrow.
Oh, wow.
The roads are fine, but I guess the school buses can't drive on certain areas, so they're closed. Golf course is closed till Saturday, so, it's been a lot of – yesterday we just had to – or 2 days ago we just had to sit at home because there was literally no way we could leave the house once the snow started to fall real good. Because down here we're just not prepared for that, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man, it's terrible. I'm ready for – I think Sunday's supposed to be decent weather. We start qualifying Sunday, so – I'm excited about that. Excited to see some sunshine and some warm weather the next week. A little bit of rain, but it's supposed to be at least a little bit warmer.
Kamai, what's the weather like down there in Florida?
Miserable. I'm in Orlando. It is awful. Today it was 45, wind chill of 38, raining all day. And it's been like that. It's been like that for the last couple of days, which is pretty much unheard of in Orlando. But like he said, I'm ready for some sunshine. I think tomorrow's supposed to be like high of 55 and sunny.
Man, you don't know what I would give for 55 and sunny right now.
So probably gonna play some golf tomorrow, and then I'll head down to South Florida with Marcus. You know Marcus Bird.
Yes, sir.
We'll head down there and do some qualifiers next week for the next 2 Korn Ferry events.
Okay, heard that.
Yeah.
Yeah, where I just moved to, it's actually pretty close to where Marcus played college golf up here. I'm about 45 minutes north of Nashville, so about 45, maybe 50 minutes from the Grove. I just met Jude, his coach, or previous coach. I don't know if he's still his coach. But yeah, just met Jude the other day. He was a super dope dude. I really, really enjoyed meeting him.
Yeah, Jude's cool.
Yeah, so, well, the main reason you were on this podcast, we've met back in the day at a invited, back then it was Club Court when I worked for him, but now It's invited clubs. You're still they're still one of your sponsors? Yeah,
I'm still with them, man. I was just actually talking to Pillsbury the other day. I was down in Jupiter playing Jupiter Country Club, which went one of their nicer clubs. So it was good, man. Invited has always supported me from probably since 2020, and yeah, it's good. It's good to have, doing what I do and traveling the way we travel and having places to play when you land somewhere and not have to worry about that. So that, they're always, come through with the courses. So they're good.
Yeah, the best part, I worked for them for 4 years, and the best part of that membership was the ability to travel and all the different courses and just all the amenities and stuff. It was a really, really cool setup how they had it. At least originally, I know they changed a bunch after COVID and during COVID and whatnot. But originally, man, when I first got hired there at 22, I mean, the members was getting was insane.
Yeah.
And of course, when that went away, they weren't super, super happy about it, but it was so undervalued for what they were getting. And I think there's still pockets of that in the company. So if you live in an area with an invited course, check them out for sure. But the main reason you're on here is because, you're a golf nut like the rest of us. You're trying to make it professionally and play, which Maddox did that for a while down in Florida. I never did. I personally never got to that level of even attempting that. But what is it like to be out there just to give it a go, man? I know there's a ton of people that dream of that opportunity.
Yeah, no, it's a blessing to be able to have the ability to even, swing a golf club, first of all. And it's good, man. Like I said, it's like, you have your ups and downs, more downs than ups. But I travel with a group of guys most of the time that, makes the downs a little easier. I think that's the key when you're chasing, Mondays and mini tours and playing, PGA Tour Latino America, even Korn Ferry, just having a group of guys that you can, kind of lean on in tough times. I mean, because there's a lot of tough times in golf, as you lose more than you win. So, It's a grind, but like I said, I wouldn't trade it for anything, man. I love the game of golf. Golf saved my life, so it's a blessing to be able to chase my dream and do what I love for a living.
Absolutely. Maddox, what tour did you play on down in Florida?
Mainly was on Florida. I played a lot of Florida Elite events.
Yeah.
I played that just from like January to, I think it ends in April.
Yeah.
And then I came back home, played a lot of G Pros, Swing Thought. Played a couple of at the time there was like, what was the Georgia one called? I mean, it was like,
so that was my favorite, Open Golf Atlanta, man. That was the one thing that
Atlanta. I played a couple of those for sure.
My only professional top 5.
Really?
Yeah. I was playing with my buddy Jordan Walker. Jordan's from Tifton, but we were at one of my previous general manager's courses, Charlie Muller, over at Chapel Hill Mirror Lake, and it was at Chapel Hills. And I birdied 3 of the last 4 to shoot even. It wasn't a great day before that, but I birdied 3 of the last 4, and I beat my buddy Jordan, who previously in tournaments had beat me by like 10-5, like just not great showings from your boy. And I beat him by 1 shot and he was in the last money spot, and then I ended up being in the last money spot.
Wow.
So it was like, I think my first check, that was the first check that I had ever made, and I think it was like $197. It was barely enough to get the entry fee back, but it's always fun to get out there.
Welcome to Mini Tour Golf.
Yeah, exactly. That was actually before. That was before I was in the section, and I had started my PGA stuff and whatnot. Maddox had a couple year run on the Georgia section, which is obviously a little. I don't know. I don't know if it's much easier than the mini tours. I played on Rolling Red and stuff, but there's certainly some higher scores at the back end, the bottom end of it. But Maddox had a little run there on the Georgia section. What were you, second in the money list, Maddox?
Yeah, I was pretty high up for a little while. I think the first event I played in was at West Pines, and I came in second and thought I'd won the thing, or at least tied for it. And Paul Claxon shot like 7 under, I think, the last day to clip me by 1 or 2. And I tied with Greg Edwards, who's a stick. He was may still be the assistant at Eastlake, but I know he was in Q school or did Q school. I don't think he got all the way through. But I mean, I don't know. When I was playing, I mean, I know it's still super competitive, but there's a lot of guys that are really, really good. I think the depth, of course, like the depth in comparison to field size is obviously a lot harder on the real mini tours. But
yeah,
I mean, there's some good players in like the
100%.
But man, I would go shoot 3, 4, 5 under for 2 days in those Florida Elite events, and be middle of the pack at best. And I think I only got like a very few like cuts made or like checks made there. I finished I want to say it was 6 events in a row, one shot or 2 shots or less, so 1 or 2 shots away from getting paid, 6 events in a row. And I was like, man, I just cannot break through.
Right.
I made money in my second event, so I was thinking, man, this is not going to be that hard. I just made money in my second event. It's not going to be nothing to it. Finished like 15th, and I was like, this will be super easy. But then after that, it was just a grind, man.
Welcome to golf. Just when you think you got it, you don't.
If only you could have made a few more 4-footers, Maddox.
That wasn't even the problem, man. I was grinding on the 4-footers, and I was really good at them. I wasn't great at putting, but I wasn't making like the mid rangers. I'd shoot. In that stretch, I think I had 12 rounds in a row at par better, and not one time did I cut a check in that stretch, which is just, I mean, it's wild. It's a Western world out there in the tours.
And for the listeners, Florida Elite is a great mini tour. I would not attempt to go try it. Maddox is obviously talking about his experience. This is several steps down from the Korn Ferry Tour that we're talking about here. So just so everybody gets it in their mind, I think some of the casuals, golf fans, I think are starting to pick up on that. But like for the most part, unless you're in the business or you're around professional golf, you really don't get it. Like, you don't know how hard it is week in and week out to make a check, make money, pay your expenses. I mean, it's brutal out there. I'll tell you my quick Marcus story, how I met Marcus. I'm sure you've already heard. a little small version of it. But so we're playing the Rolling Red up in Tennessee, and my wife is from here. Or excuse me, my wife lived here for 5 years or so. So we were looking for a little getaway, and I was like, well, let me see if I can find a golf tournament to go play in and knock out two birds with one stone. Can get my wife away for a couple days, and I can play in an event. And so I signed up for a Rolling Red up here. It was at Old Fort in Murfreesboro, and the greens were rolling about a 7. And nothing against. I mean, they were pure. They were. I mean, they were healthy. They were just real slow. Real slow. And so it was, the Rolling Red has the 1 day and then the 2 days. Yep. And I couldn't afford to play in both. It was well over $1,000 to play in both. So I wanted to play 2 days. So I played in the big event. Seth Fair, I think, shot 61 in the first day, like the little shootout. And then he fired it up with 63, 65. Marcus shot 65 the first day. That's who I was paired with. And then the other guy, Trey, I think shot 65 or 66. I was 2 under through 2, birdied 1 and 2. I turned it even, and it on Blue Golf, it showed you the leaderboard when you went to the back nine, and I was beating one person, and I was even par. And I was like, yeah, maybe this ain't for me, dog.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Immediately, I think I threw a double bogey in there after I saw the leaderboard. So, it's just golf.
That's golf.
But, no, Marcus was a trip, man, and we played that first rounds, and he was encouraging me the whole time. And, because the weird part about golf is, it doesn't look that much different. I think I fired 77 after all that. And, my shots are right there with theirs. They're not out driving me by a ton. The difference is just wedge play and putting. I'm hitting it to 15 feet and sometimes 3-putting. They're hitting to 30 feet or 3-putting. They're hitting it to 5 feet, 10 feet, and they're making the putts. So just so much different. Just a different league, different level out there. What's your favorite Marcus story? Since he is one of our only mutual friends.
Favorite Marcus story, man. I've had so many stories with Marcus, man, but. Truly, Marcus is one of the guys who really makes me better, man. To be honest with you, I enjoy hanging around Marcus, getting better with him. He's a really good player. He was top 50 amateur player. He's just one of those guys where one day he's going to definitely break through and play on the PGA Tour. I tell him that all the time. He's one of the best golfers I've ever seen in person. But yeah, I have so many crazy stories. Me and Marcus travel together every week, so we
can come back to it.
Yeah, as you know, Marcus is a trip, man. But he's a very good dude, and to be honest, I don't think I would. I went through my struggles last year on the golf course. It was kind of a long year for me, but Marcus is one of those guys who just encouraged me to always keep going and get better. So, he's just, really good friend of mine, and he's always positive towards, what I got going on in my dreams. So you need those type of people in your life. For sure. Maddox, who's that guy for you?
Oh man, it's a team, really. I got people all around me. These days, in the last however many years, Scott's been there. He always checks in when I'm playing, and especially at the Kirby before he left there.
I kind of had to. I was the assistant pro there.
Yeah, but I know I traveled a little bit, did a couple Mondays, and I think like what you said. It makes such a big difference when you have somebody there with you. I travel with a guy who is playing on the Americas Tour now, Cameron Williams. He went to a rival school, and in college we butted heads a lot because we just wanted to beat each other. But we graduated the same year and kind of both chased the dream at the same time. And he's still going after it, but we traveled together. And, man, that made such a big difference, just having somebody there next to you, like, hey, we're both rooting each other on, of course. And, like, hey, if you make it, I'll caddy for you. If I make it, you'll caddy for me. Like, it's just so fun to have somebody there with you. And I think just, like you said, having a support system is massive. Having travel partners is huge, and just people back home rooting you on. I'd say all in all, my dad was the guy for me. Like every week or every day, I'm calling my dad. Like, this is what I did today. This is what feels good. This is what doesn't feel good. And no matter what, he would always tell me, just go out there and have fun and get after it. And he still has faith in me, and if the cards fell right in the next few years, I might, would love to go back after it. But for right now, I'm just coaching and playing when I can. And
I think you better. I think you're better right now than when you were when you moved down there.
Yeah, I think I've just matured a lot in the game. Like it takes a lot of maturity. I've calmed down a lot, and I've learned more from coaching than I guess I could say I've ever learned being on the opposite side of it. Like, no disrespect to any coach I've ever had. I've had a lot of great coaches, but being the coach and seeing the same mistakes that I made drives me insane. So now I try to practice what I preach, and I think that's made the biggest difference. But yeah, it's I miss the competitive aspect of it. I'm gonna sign up for the AM stuff probably tomorrow for like Georgia AM qualifiers and all that. That's just tons of fun.
All right. Well, while I know we don't have a ton of listeners yet, or maybe ever, but this is fun. While we don't have a ton of listeners yet, I'm almost certain we don't have very many at all that are trying to make it as a professional golfer. But we all have something in common that I think most everybody that's going to be listening to this name of the podcast, being Overqualified Golf Dads. Tell us about your journey as a dad, bro. I know it's just got to be so much fun with a 3-year-old at the house.
Yeah, she's awesome, dude. Honestly, it's the best thing that ever happened to me. I didn't grow up with a father. So being a first-time dad, I have an older brother too, who's a first-time dad. We didn't grow up with, a dad in our life, but it's just amazing to me, to be honest. Like just to watch him grow and be there. Like the other day, I walked into because I'm traveling all the time, so I never get to really go to ballet class or swim lessons and stuff like that. But I walked in the other day of her ballet class, and like her face just like kind of lit up, and like all kids ever wanted someone to be there. To be honest. And that's the main thing I'm trying to do as a dad, is just to be there, have her, just be there for her, no matter what, and encourage her. And like I said, she's the best thing that ever happened to me in my life. And to have someone that it's no longer about me anymore.
Right.
Even though I'm chasing my dream and doing what I love, it's still 100% about her and making her happy and her desires and needs, and that's just my my biggest goal when it comes to being a dad. Is just kind of being the best dad I could be and being there for her, and seeing her smile and things like that. That means more to me than winning a PGA Tour event or winning a mini tour event or whatever the case may be. Watching my kids smile and happy and safe and feeling safe, that means more to me than anything.
For sure. Jet's at the stage. He turns 6 months old tomorrow, but he's at the stage where no matter what, if you walk in the room, he's just like, he's just so happy to see you. Unless he's in a fussy mood. But for the most part, I mean, if you can get his attention, he's going to greet you with a smile. And it's so cool to see. I think for me, it's just you don't really understand that concept of the greatest thing that's ever happened to me, changed my life. Like, you don't get that until, Maddox, you have your stepdaughter, but you haven't truly experienced like that's yours, like looking down, coming out like that. You made that, and it's something that I never really expected to connect with a baby.
Right.
Like this much. No, like even going into it, I work 60 hours a week my entire golf career, and it's not over, but my 60-hour work weeks are over. That's for sure. I'm not going back to that because I can't now, because now that time spent away from him hurts, like physically.
Yeah.
Like, and so I my heart goes out to you, bro, when you are on the road and traveling, because I know you're doing it for her, but you're also doing it, to chase your childhood dreams. So it's got to be a fine balance there. And, I can already tell just following you on socials and keeping up with your life and whatnot, like you do have that figured out, and you've got that balance, which is, it's really cool to see, because I think, we see it every day. I see parents that, maybe they're getting to the golf course to avoid that, or they're bringing them along and then not engaging with them. They're just trying to play golf and then bring them along, if that makes sense. Like not actually engaging them in the game. So have you taken your daughter out to the course yet?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I have. We go out quite a bit. I live 3 minutes from my first tee in Champions Gate, so we go out all the time. Just kind of, I never want to force anything on her. She do it if she loves. If she plays, she plays.
That ain't how we roll around here, bro.
Right.
We're Fort. No, Fort.
Oh, we lost. Oh, there he goes. Yeah, no, I like, whatever she wants to do, she can do. I think it's just a good time for us to bond together, and I think she's going to be a little bit more like her mom. Likes to play in makeup, likes to be a girly girl. So, and that's okay.
That could all change too.
Yeah, and it could. But our time on the golf course and watching her run around the golf course. Like I said, I never got to see that as a kid growing up. So it's just a blessing to be able to provide that for my kid and a healthy, safe home for her. That's what it's all about, I think. It's not being the perfect dad or the perfect mom or the perfect anything. It's just being there, to be honest. And that means more to them than anything. Sure. So that's the good thing about, being a dad. Is just, watching them grow and creating a safe and healthy, environment for them to grow up in a peaceful home. And that's what it's all about.
For sure. I know you've done a lot of work with like junior golfers and stuff through Invited and your other sponsors and volunteering your time and whatnot. What's something that you see that maybe not necessarily anybody's doing wrong, but that you see is something that people should do more of to help the development of a junior golfer? It can be whatever age you want.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing is, in America, I think we just got to keep creating programs and keeping our hands on programs and like I said, don't force it on the kids, but just create a fun environment. I think golf is getting better and better and better and better. The younger and younger and younger. I mean, we just saw 17-year-old Blake Brown, play on the PGA Tour. I played with Miles Russell in the League On this year in the Korn Ferry event. So, it's getting better and better, but I think it's just to keep the fun aspect about it and not want them to, break par or whatever. I think it's just keep it fun, man. And keep creating programs and keeping our hands on programs for junior golf and growing the game. I love the game of golf. Like I said, golf saved my life. And, to see the game of golf just keep evolving and growing and looking like America. And I think that's what it's all about is this game can take you so many places and meet so many people. And I've been around so many people that I never dreamed to think about of being around. And it's put me indoors and put me around people that it's just the greatest game ever played. I played baseball. My brother played football in the NFL for a couple of years and Canadian League. And I've seen all the other sports, and there's no sport like golf. And the crazy thing about all of this being said is, when you're in high school or in middle school, most like your friends are like, why you play golf? Oh, yeah, play golf. And now all those friends that were telling you that back in the day want lessons or something like that to get involved in the game of golf.
For sure.
So that's kind of been the cool part for me is just watching all my friends want to play golf now. And it just goes to show you where the game of golf is going. It's going in the right direction. We're building programs. We're keeping our hands on programs. There's more junior golfers playing. There's more women playing. So that's what it's all about. It's growing the game of golf. And because, like I said, it's the greatest game I ever played. And, it's introduced me to so many great people in my life that came into my life and changed my life. So, like you said, I just think just keep the game fun for juniors and keep creating programs and keeping our hands on programs and having great coaches like you guys. And that has been there and done that. And don't want to see kids make the same mistake you made. I think that's the biggest thing that we can do in the game of golf today.
Yeah, I got in 2019, so I would have to check and see if it's still even licensed or whatever, but I got First Tee qualified to help out with the First Tee program. They were going to bring into White Oak, and it ended up not coming to fruition, but just learning about what all the First Tee program of America does for kids, just that maybe that, even if you're at, like, for example, one of the things I did like about Invited was there wasn't these super heavy initiation fees.
Right.
Like, then going on the other side of it and working for an initiation club or an equity club, there are some huge advantages to that too, right? It's
Oh yeah.
only your golf course getting the work, and the profit gets directly reinvested back into the golf course. So there's some huge advantages to both. But one of the things that I liked about Invited and is that I was constantly getting new members, and there wasn't an initiation fee. So you're creating an opportunity for families that maybe they can't afford 5-10 grand down, but you can afford $100, and you have to commit for a year of $200 a month dues or whatever it was. Like it was more affordable for the everyday working American than a private equity club is. Now, with that came more busy tee times and et cetera. So
Yeah.
there's a fine balance. I think that when I think some because I have worked on both sides of the spectrum, and I think that sometimes on the other side, you've got people that are at these kind of higher end private clubs that want to keep their club small. That's their prerogative too. Like that.
Yeah.
We're not saying that you should have to open up your club for everybody
Right.
should have access to come play your club. All that we're saying is 1 month at it, or 1 day out of the year, have a junior tournament that those kids that grew up 5 minutes from the club can come play, and it needs to be open. Or 1 month of the year have a open junior golf, junior golf clinic, or there's so many different ways to do it. Even without being from a super specialized program, if you're a golfer listening to this, there are kids right down the road that maybe are curious about your club every day because their school bus drives past it, but their parents know nothing about golf. There's got to be a bridge that we can find, because I'm a firm believer that kids can be talented at everything that they try. With a little bit of direction, a little bit of encouragement, and some God-given natural ability, any child can be developed into a great golfer.
Mm-hmm.
It just takes the right hands molding that child. And, to say that we can only pick from this group of kids that has the money to pay the initiation fees and join a private club is something that always kind of bothered me in the game of golf. So I love what y'all are doing and what you're involved with the programs, and getting more kids, especially at an early age, involved. As far as the hands-on side of things, when you have worked with kids on the range and stuff, what's the number one thing you like teaching them?
I mean, I like teaching, from the green to the tee box. I don't like teaching from the tee box to the green, to be honest. That's how I was taught growing up. And I think that I didn't start playing golf until I was 14, but that was one of the biggest, things that got me good, kind of faster. I wouldn't say, nothing too crazy, but fast. I got better faster working from the green to the tee, putting, short game, chipping and putting. That's how you lower your handicap. So many people get caught up in, I want to drive it far, I want to hit it far. But I think the way you lower your handicap is and get junior golfers better is chipping and putting. Creating feel around the green, creating different shots, imagination. And I think when you have an imagination with a wedge in your hand, I think that only creates, better imagination with, a long iron, or you're not afraid to miss a green. You're not afraid to go after a pin, because you have good short game, you got good hands. And that I think that's why I enjoy teaching junior golfers in the game is chipping and putting. That's that's what I like.
Maddox, what about you?
I'm right there with him. I think that's like you said, it's the most important part of the game when it comes down to it is chipping and putting. I think a lot of it is, I worked with some guys at my original home club and some junior camps growing up in high school and stuff, just to kind of, I don't know, be involved. I really enjoyed doing that, really enjoyed meeting the kids and seeing the young talent. And of course, you got your knuckleheads here and there that are a little crazy, but it's almost more fun to see them come around by the end of the week.
Yeah.
And then I did the first tee in college. There's a one local here that Alan Doyle started up. And it was a lot of fun to go out there and do that for the kids that, again, like Scott said, don't have access to a private club. And, you could tell some of the parents were bringing them there just because it's summertime. They wanted them to get out of the house. But at the same time, we're trying to invest that same energy into these kids. And out there, it's a par 3 course. So we don't really have much of an option but to teach them, kind of the green backwards. They did a lot more of chipping and putting competitions. And I think that's where two, I think you can get a lot more engagement out of that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we talked about it with Bill Pressey a few weeks ago, just about how, like, if you set up the putting green with you know, targets or whatever, you put the little hula hoops down, like the flat hula hoops down or whatever, and give them something that's visually fun. I think that adds to it, and that gets them engaged, that gets them, you know, wanting to come back, because they see that golf is not just, you know, the cliche boring sport that everybody assumes it to be, that doesn't necessarily know the game. Like,
Right.
there's a lot of fun that you can have with it, and like you said, imagination's a huge key, because when they're young and they're kids, that's when their imagination is the fullest. Am I
Yeah, you're good. Let me interject.
okay?
Watching Patrick Cantley is very boring.
Oh my God.
Play golf.
Oh my
Fair
God.
enough.
Tell you what,
Fair enough.
I would rather watch paint dry.
Dude, it's like watching paint dry. He was on TGL, and he was standing right next to Billy Horschel when Billy Horschel did the Dirty Bird the other night. Oh my gosh! And I mean, Patrick he's just
Yeah.
like, if homie's just like, if he's just out of his mind on something you can buy in legal states, like, that would be one thing. But I don't think that's the case either. I think he just lives his life just like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and he'll better at golf than I ever will be. You know what I'm saying? Like, way better than I ever will be. But yeah, I think one of the things with junior golf, though, back to junior golf, is I think it has so much to do with the energy of the coach and the parent around.
Yeah.
You know,
100%.
One of the coaches that, you know, on the inside of the business, you see a coach doing something so crazy different than all the rest of us. You're like, look at that guy. But then you realize why he's doing it. So we have a local coach. I'm sure Maddox knows who I'm talking about. I'm not going to mention his name, but he wears like super bright clothing, like super, super bright clothing. And he had one of the biggest junior programs in the country, literally. 4 invited at one time, and I think he's gone off and done some different stuff now. But it's just one of those things where, like, you know, the kids will respond to the leadership and the direction of instruction that they're getting, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you come to it with patience and you come to it with engaged activities, right? That's why I always like to do the chipping and the putting in our junior camps. When we used to have junior camps with Dana was my head pro, and this is at Noonan Country Club, not at White Oak. White Oak, I was on my own on an island down at the bottom of the range. It was terrible. But at Noonan, we had it where set up where we had a tennis section, a chipping and putting with me, and then a driving range section. So it was in 3 groups, and they were always going back and forth, moving around. The order got mixed up every day of the week, so you weren't doing the same things at the same time. And just seeing the kids like realize there's a difference putting on the green first thing in the morning at 9 o'clock, and then at 1 o'clock when, you know, the next day they come back to me to putt at 1 o'clock that day. And they're like, this green is a lot faster this afternoon. I'm like, yeah, that's what happens. The dew dries off, and, you know, it just, to see their minds start to pick up on some of the small things that I can't even get adults to pick up on.
Yeah.
With just a little bit of an attention to detail with the drills and the stuff that you're requiring them to do. I played tic-tac-toe with painter's tape on the putting green. And the first thing somebody walked by and said, that's going to mess up the green. I'm like, boy, if you don't get out of here, look, painter's tape, it's not going to mess up your green. Like,
yeah.
It's just a fun activity for the kids to do something different. Like, they cannot look at a green. It looks flat to them. Like,
right.
They can't see. But if I put a little piece of cardboard and it looks like a skateboard ramp, and I say putt towards that cardboard and watch it break to the hole, suddenly they can see it in 3D.
Yeah,
right?
Their imagination gets better. Yeah, 100%.
Exactly. So I think you have to be a bit imaginative. You have to have your imagination turned on so that you can properly reach the age of the child that you're trying to reach.
Yeah.
Right? And I think with like a teenager, if I try to do any gimmicky stuff like that, they would not want to come back. They want to be treated like a tour pro, right or wrong. They want to be treated like a college kid that I teach for Maddox's team coming in. Like, they want to see the data. They want to see the stuff. Even if they're 12 degrees over the top with a 16-degree open club face. You know, most of the time, those players, the kids that are in technology want to see technology, right? It's the same for the junior golfers. Like, if you can get them engaged with stuff that actually opens up their brain. My favorite thing I did all summer long we had them broken up into ages, kind of. So, like, the competitive older boys were always together and et cetera. And I did a match play tournament. I ran it all week long. It was double elimination. I only had them for like 30 to 45 minute segments, so I couldn't do it all in one day. So I ran a match. I did a bracket. I drew it up. They knew who they were playing next. They knew who they were playing the next day. They knew, and by the end of it, we had all the kids from the entire camp were watching the championship match, and they're chanting, they're screaming. It was like, I mean, obviously not, but like to them, it was their Ryder Cup. Like they're watching it on Full Swing on Netflix, and then they're experiencing it, rooting for their favorite versus versus the other kid or whatever. You can make it inclusive. You can make it competitive. You can make it everything that you need, every box you need to check. But what I see a lot of golf pros just kind of like, all right, it's 5:30. It's time for practice. All right, we're going to the range. All right, spread out. All right, if you're not swinging, put your club down. And it's just like they're not going to respond to that.
Right.
So, anywho, that's just that's kind of I go on one tirade, normally a podcast, where I kind of like call out something that I think needs to be addressed. And for me, it's just like if you're a head pro and maybe you've done a million of these, but you have a young assistant, just tell your young assistant to go crazy. Just give them $200, send them to Walmart, get toys, get games, get stuff, find things to do with these kids that are different than what they've seen in a golf camp before. And I promise you, they're going to want to come back to your golf camp the next year and the next year.
Yeah.
And the next year.
Yeah. I mean, it's all about getting kids to keep coming back. Right. And make them fall in love with the game. So I think, that fun, making it fun, goes a long way.
Absolutely. What's next for you? Are you going to the PGA show at all this week?
I went yesterday. Went for a little bit yesterday. That's about it for me. That's pretty much all I can take of the PGA show. But it was good to see. It was fun. I had a great time. Hung out with some great guys. Had a good time yesterday. It was fun time. I mean, I just wish that we had so much golf set up with this week with a bunch of guys coming in town for the PGA show, but that kind of went out the window because I am not playing. Much as I love golf, I am not playing golf at 34 degrees and raining. I'm sorry.
The rain would get me.
Yeah.
The rain would get me.
Yeah. It's not so much.
I played in 34, but
yeah, it's not so much the 30 the cold. It's the raining sideways. I was like, nah, I'll just work out and go home.
Yeah, for sure. The one that I always had a rule that if it was under 40. I think if it was under 40, I wasn't playing. If it was under 50 with more than 10 miles an hour wind, I probably wasn't playing. If it was 44 with 10 miles an hour of wind, I can just play. Now I'm regretting saying this because I don't work at a golf course anymore and I haven't played a round of golf in 2 months. But I could play so much golf at that time. Why would I go out there and play that day?
Right. 100%. I live in Florida, so I mean it's more good days than bad.
For sure. My Callaway rep last year took me and two other. He took the assistant teacher at Druid Hills and the first assistant at Sage Valley, which is actually where I got this hat. But the guys, we went out in Florida and they were like, "This is awful weather," and it was in January, so it was 55, 60 degrees, sunny, kind of windy, and I was like, This ain't that bad. It was a little cold, but it wasn't that bad. They were like, "This is freezing." I'm like,
yeah.
Florida's nice.
We get spoiled here for sure.
For sure. What's next on the playing schedule?
For me, I got so I'm going down to, like I said, Marcus and I are going down to South Florida on tomorrow. Actually, I leave tomorrow. Going down there for the next Korn Ferry Mondays. So we have one Monday and Wednesday down there. So we'll be down there getting ready for that. Then I have a mini tour event on the Florida Professional Tour. Then I have the APJ Tour. And then I have the Leak on Mondays. And then I have the Florida Swing of Mondays. The Honda, the Leak on, Innisbrook, Valspar, and all those. So I'll be doing all those. I'll be busy. Season gets busy right now, which is good. It's good to have a little downtime this time of the year for a little bit. I play a lot of events in Florida this time of the year. Get to sleep in my own bed. So that's a good thing. But yeah, just chasing it. Same schedule as last year, and and we'll see where we land at the end of the year.
Love it. If you see Maddox's last or most recent All-American, Cole Stevens, on the APGA.
Oh yeah, I know Cole.
Yeah, so Maddox
Cole's a heck of a player. He played for Point for, I guess, 3 years, maybe 4. He may have been a COVID kid, and then moved over to Augusta. So the head coach that was at Point when he got recruited there, my head coach at the time, Stephen Payne, he went to Augusta. And so for Cole's final year, that's where he went, and he got the status for the APGA. I guess he was like the player of the year for Division I, which was really, really cool.
Yeah.
And he still comes and sees the guys. And
he moves it.
Yeah, it's crazy for how small he is.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many crazy looks we'd get because, on the tee box and stuff, they would see this little kid walk up, and then all of a sudden this ball's flying past their guys that are 6'2", 6'3", and they're like, what in the world?
Yeah.
He's a freak of nature, but he's a really good kid. I still keep up with him. I text him every time he plays, and he comes down to see the boys sometimes and plays golf with us. And I know he's getting lessons from Scott there for a little while, and
he still is. We're still working.
Okay, yeah,
nice.
He's awesome.
Nice.
Make sure to give him a little pat on the back if you see.
We'll
him.
We'll do.
All right, guys. Well, I think that's probably about enough for tonight. I know you need to get some sleep before headed down to South Florida, and y'all both are an hour ahead of me, so that we will wrap it up. But yeah, just thanks so much for coming on, bro.
Yeah,
I really
absolutely.
appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, guys. I really appreciate it. And
any sponsors you need to shout out before you go?
No, not necessarily. Things are going to be looking a little different for me going into this year. So we'll keep that on the wraps for right now. But like I said, it's a pleasure being on with you guys, and thanks for just talking about dads and golf, and you never know what fathers are going through, and I think what you guys are doing is great. I think keep doing what you're doing, and thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Guys, that was Kamaiu Johnson of just professional golf as a whole. He's pretty much anywhere and everywhere out there grinding, battling,
yes, sir.
Getting after it. As always, I'm Scott Porter, host of co-host of the OverQualified Golf Dads podcast with Maddox Lytle. Maddox, anything you want to say to the people before we leave?
Just want to wish Kamaiu luck this season. Obviously, we'll be rooting you on. And
thanks, man.
I'm a golf junkie when it comes to Q School and Mondays, so I'll definitely be putting the star next to your name for this year, and wish you the best of luck. If there's anything that we can do for you, I know that I don't know what we could do for you, but if there's anything we can do for you, let us know, and we'll be rooting you on.
No, thanks for thinking of me, guys. Thanks for having me on, and you guys are doing enough, and just to sit here and talk to dads about golf is good enough for me.
Yes, sir. Well, we can't wait to see that 3-year-old of your Swinger Golf Club soon. Hopefully soon. Get away from the dresses and the makeup. And
yeah.
All right, guys. We're going to get out of here.
Okay. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
All right.
See ya.